everybody, I'm Quinn.
And I'm Scott, and it's time for the Almost Friday show for May 17th, 2012.
We've got our brand new studio set up, so this week we're coming to you in 720p.
Yeah, proper HD, you know this 960p business?
Yeah.
540p? I don't
540p?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you get 720p.
Yeah, like 30% more.
Maybe someday down the future you'll get full high definition, but we just don't think it's worth
I wouldn't
the
count
effort.
on that. No.
No.
We have to pay for bandwidth.
It's true. And off the press this week, the girls are reviewing Adventure Time for the epic conclusion.
Yeah, so if you've been following the Adventure Time comics like I have, it's time for epic conclusiveness.
It's true.
And I haven't read it yet, so I gotta plug my ears.
Everyone likes the conclusions.
I would hope so. Not always.
Well, they're just kind of odd if you don't like conclusions, I think.
What if they're not the one? What Mass Effect 3, man? That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
In Tech Insight, we're talking about Facebook going public. They're going public tomorrow as of day of recording, Friday the 18th. And we'll have the details on how much they're raking in off it.
Absolutely. And in Science this week, we're talking about a paralyzed woman who's controlling robotic arms with her mind.
Yeah, and in a good, usable way instead of a crazy mad scientist way.
Yeah, not bent on world domination way.
With one arm?
Well, you never know. It's robotic.
That's ambitious.
Missiles?
Well, that's not an arm anymore. That's a missile launcher.
Yeah, but Iron Man's got it.
I suppose that's
We're almost
true.
there.
Yeah.
But without further ado, it's time for Off the Press.
Hey guys, welcome to Off the Press this week. We're going to kick it off with Adventure Time 4, which is the conclusion of the current plotline, as well as I believe that Ryan North is done writing at this point. It's pretty amazing. The art is consistent to previous levels of awesome. And, there's epic space fights and the Ice King and
comedy all over the place.
Comedy all over the place. Make sure you read outside the margins when you do it. I didn't know whether or not they were going to do this ongoing or conclude individual storylines, and I'm really glad that they decided to go with the individual storyline thing, because it feels more like an episode of Adventure Time. The beginning, middle, and end thing is pretty nice.
Are they going to keep up with the numbering scheme, or is it going to start new every time?
I'm not sure. I do know that immediately after this, they're going to be moving forward to talk more. We're going to have a spin-off, which is Marceline and the Scream Queens, which is the next one. And that's coming out in July. And
Comic book July, or actually July?
It's comic book. Probably not comic book July.
Okay.
Actual July. Adventure Time has not been behind schedule yet.
Right.
For
the
release.
comic book July is like real people May.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Well,
probably
yeah. They'll have a firmer release date, probably closer
Excellent.
to. They're already working on the cover art and stuff for issue 2.
Oh, yeah.
So we're pretty safe, which will be written and drawn by Meredith Graham, by the way, who does Octopus Pie on the internet, for those of you who are familiar with her work. And so after that, we're not sure where it's going to go. They're describing it, Marceline and the Scream Queens, as a spin-off series. So I'm assuming, based on that they'll probably continue the main Adventure Time after that. There's no reason not to.
Yeah,
the first and second issues are already, have been reprinted.
It's insanely popular
And
it's
are
selling
continuing
really
to be
well.
bought. Yeah, so pretty much everyone from ages, 6 to 50 is buying and reading this
Everyone
comic.
wins.
So it's absolutely fantastic and totally worth your money. And
It's only $3, guys.
Go out and buy 5.
Yeah.
Well, at least 4, because there's 4 different covers, and you want all of them. And Scott C did cover C, so you should at least get that one.
I see what they did there.
Yeah,
Love
pretty
it.
great. All right, so moving on from that,
Yes.
another thing. Trailer Madness!
TV edition.
Fall.
So this week, a bunch of the TV networks announced their new fall lineups. And a few of them had trailers, but we're only going to talk about 2 because these are the 2 that
We care about.
we think are cool. And we'll probably talk about the rest of them as they come out in the fall or as more things are released. So we're going to start off with the Green Arrow show, also known as Arrow.
They're just calling it Arrow, which I
Arrow.
guess is like a thing now. Like
Yep.
one word
Yeah.
TV series.
Well, it's
They
made
seem to
by
really
the
like doing it.
CW, who I think did Smallville.
As far as I know.
As far
yes.
as I remember, they did
did.
Smallville, so it would make sense that they're
Yeah.
continuing with the universe.
Green Arrow's Canadian.
Yeah, the guy who plays him
Is Stephen Amell.
Canadian.
Pretty cool.
It's probably filmed in BC.
I just assume,
I assume everything's filmed there unless otherwise.
unless it's in Toronto.
Yeah.
unless it's filmed in Toronto.
So what do you think about the trailer? I know nothing about this character other than he wears green. He has like a pointy hat. And he
Yeah,
has
it's
an
got
arrow.
depending on the series you follow in the comics, he kind of usually has like the Robin Hood thing going
Yeah.
on or whatever. So, I mean, that's okay. They obviously are not really, they don't seem to be hearkening to that so far in
No.
the trailer, but it is like a teaser, and so they're more like, oh, look at this guy be buff and shoot
Yeah.
arrows. Isn't he cool? I think you want to
Yeah.
watch our show. Wouldn't that be cool, guys? And I don't know. Like, I don't really follow DC very
No,
much, but
neither do
I
I.
really like Green Arrow, but I like him because he's a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're gonna maintain
Yeah,
that
it's
or
really
not.
hard to do a TV show where the main character is a dick.
Yeah,
So
especially.
Maybe he'll have like a secondary character who's less of a dick. That's kind of his straight man. To know,
Yeah, that's something
bounce the
to
dickishness off of.
do the whole foily thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my primary thing that I really like about Green Arrow is his relationship with Batman. So that's probably also out.
Interesting. Well, maybe they'll
We'll
do a
see.
cameo. Then
That
do a
would be
Batman
cool.
show
That would be
after.
cool. Yeah, that would be fantastic. But I mean, you know, it looks okay, I guess.
Looks interesting.
I don't have a lot of faith in
No.
DC's
Smallville
live
was
action.
successful. It had a really solid following, so hopefully this gets a solid following as well.
That's true, but I didn't like Smallville. So
No,
I probably won't like this.
I only saw the first couple of seasons, and I heard it gets better near the end.
Yeah.
But 9 seasons is a really big commitment, especially for an American show.
Yeah, but I do overall enjoy how heavily comic books are kind of permeating everything, and the
Yes.
success of the movies is making it easier for newer, cooler stuff to get made.
Mm-hmm.
Producers are getting less scared of, you know, nerd culture
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I'm all for it from a progress standpoint, if nothing else.
Also, the bow and arrow is making a huge comeback this year.
It's the new hot thing.
I'll just have to wait for the ratings of the Olympics and see if archery gets a boost in the ratings.
I
this
can
year.
definitely attest from this trailer alone that Green Arrow is a better archer than Hawkeye.
Yes,
He actually does the, you know,
The
none of
proper-
this chicken wing
the proper form thing.
junk
Yeah.
that they do.
Hopefully, they have some real archers there helping him along.
So moving on to something with a little bit more controversy, they released the preview for Elementary, which, for those of you who are unaware, is Sherlock in New York.
It's the CBS remake of Sherlock. Sherlock is still English.
Mm-hmm.
He is from London. He travels to New York for some strange reason.
I think basically the premise is that he is they're going a little heavier with the addiction spin.
Okay.
He is addicted to an actual drug where, you know, like legitimately
Like opium?
versus, you know, mild like cigarettes
Yeah.
as they do in the BBC, and so he's out of rehab, and so I think they've relocated him to
Interesting.
America in an attempt to get him out of his original toxic life environment or whatever it is that fancy mumbo jumbo is.
Yes. Also, Watson's a woman.
Lucy Liu,
Lucy Liu.
a girl and Asian.
Asian. It's cool to see Asians taking main roles in TV
Yeah.
shows that aren't Hawaii Five-0.
I'm really excited for the gender bend, to be
Yeah.
honest. It makes me really excited. So far, from the preview, it seems like Lucy Liu is going to play the, you know, John Watson straight
Yeah.
shooter kind of guy.
So far in this trailer, not military background, though.
Yes.
As far as we can see,
As far as we know,
Yeah,
we don't
as far
know.
as
They
we
don't
know.
have a lot yet.
it's like actually like a minute and a half of actual trailer and a minute and a half of them talking about the show.
The show and stuff.
It's kind of interesting.
Mhm.
Cool way to do a trailer.
Now, I know there's a lot of hate out for this because BBC Sherlock is absolutely amazing. And I know that the reason this probably got greenlit to be made was only because BBC Sherlock
That's what
was
Stephen
so
Moffat
successful.
thinks.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
probably true. But for all you guys who are really upset, all the creative people who are working on this are probably really excited about it. So I'm definitely gonna give it the like half season try
Yeah.
when it comes out.
This is gonna be, 6-episode try.
Yeah,
It's the standard for most people.
yeah. But if Joan Watson sleeps with Sherlock, I'm out.
Gonna punch someone in the face.
I'm out.
Yeah,
Just so you know.
definitely. And speaking of things that are
Out.
awful, Battleship comes out this week. So this movie, you really don't want to see it.
No,
I only want to see it in the theater because there's very special effect heavy.
it's true.
And I know it's going to be an awful movie, but I'm going to go on cheap night, so I'm not paying that much money for it. Maybe I'll go buy a ticket for Avengers and then go see Battleship or something. I don't know. But I only want to see it in the theater 'cause it's very special effects heavy, and I know it's going to be an awful experience at home.
Yes, it's true. If you don't see it in the theaters, there's
Yeah.
no point in seeing it at all.
It's like
so-
Transformers or something like that, kind of have to be in the theaters. Yeah. Lens flare.
Fire everything.
Yes. Blow up all the cities.
Look at that soldier. He's never done anything before in his life, and now he has to rule everybody.
Yep.
Classic heroic situation. It could be
Totally.
fun.
It could be a fun movie. Once, yeah.
Once.
I'll watch it. Maybe I'll do a review if I see it in the
So
next.
you're done being excited. I get to be
Yep.
excited. Chronicles out on DVD.
Dude, I
and
was excited about that too.
Loved that in
I
theaters.
believe the Blu-ray has an extended cut.
Ooh.
More found footage.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Found footage.
found footage.
The
Air
best.
quotes.
Yep, pretty good.
I really want to see the behind-the-scenes stuff in this movie.
Yeah, I would
All of
really,
it.
really
Just
like.
give me-
Yeah,
Give me all of it.
give me all the stuff.
I'll go rent it for like $3.
Grabby hands. I'll pay actual money for it. I will pay the
Pay
real dollars.
Pay
Yeah.
$30 for this.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, fair enough.
Absolutely.
All right.
It deserves it.
It's true. And in video games this week, the big news of the season is Diablo 3,
That did come out.
which sold really well, but open to awful, awful server problems. Like server problems, like there was
No.
oh
Mm.
boy. So this
Yeah.
basically started out everything was okay, and then it crashed. Then it was okay, and then crashed, and it continued like this until probably about yesterday. Yesterday being Wednesday, so like day after. Okay, no server problems are still happening. as
My
far as I
Twitter
know.
feed was
Yeah.
basically, oh my god, Diablo 3, oh my god, Diablo 3,
more
oh my god, Diablo
stable.
3. Why is it breaking?
Yeah, it's more stable now, but it's still server issues all the time. There's been some issues with localization. So
Mhm.
if you were a German speaker playing on the American
Yeah.
servers, once you install the German language pack, server error, it would boot you off because their localization stuff is going kind of weird and forces people in the languages and all that
Mhm.
fun stuff. But overall,
Yeah.
pretty good game. It's standard point and click action adventure.
Yeah.
Very much like the second one, but it's much prettier.
Mhm.
Also, I'm
Much
having
shinier.
a terrible time with it on my laptop because my graphics card is terrible. You will die all the time. So make sure your computer is well equipped for this.
The other release for this week is Max Payne 3.
Good reviews. That's
Everyone likes it.
seems to-
Promises not to crash like Diablo 3.
Yes, being predominantly single player and all that.
Yep.
Yep,
That's how you avoid things breaking. Just don't employ the things that break.
it's true. Server problems. You know what?
Play
I
offline.
think the solution is don't make a really popular game. Don't make one of the best-selling games of the season.
Yep.
Yep. And with that, that's the end of Off the Press this week.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech Insight. We're starting it off with Facebook news because guess what? They're going public.
Yeah, so we did talk about the Facebook IPO previously, but the reason I bring this up again is because the figures are out.
It's true.
And everyone was wondering what's going to happen. Okay, so the gist of it is they're releasing 421 million shares.
Which is a lot of shares.
Now, 180 million of those are for purchase.
Okay.
The remainder is already owned by the current people who own parts of Facebook.
Makes sense.
Okay. Each one of those 421 million shares is worth $38.
That's a lot of money.
So that's a total valuation of about 104 billion.
You know, 1 billion's cool, but you know what's cooler than 1 billion? 100 billion.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Now, if just Mark Zuckerberg sold all his shares at $38 a share, he would take an income of $1.2 billion.
That's kind of, he owns like 1% of the company.
Yeah.
That's a little sad.
Yeah, so lots of people are going to be made rich off this. Someone pointed out on the radio this morning that Bono actually owns a good chunk of Facebook and will become a 100 millionaire if he sells his shares.
Isn't he already like 100 million?
Well, yes, many times over, I'm
Because
sure.
he just,
He could give it to all the starving children.
Sells $1,000 shades to everyone.
Yeah, he has to get a cut of every shade that they have. But anyway, big dollars. So if you want to get a Facebook share, they are trading on NASDAQ tomorrow
Okay.
under the moniker FB.
Now, do you think these are going to sell pretty quickly?
Probably. I don't know that that's necessarily a really good deal. I think it's probably overvalued a bit.
Possibly.
It'll probably go down, but not a lot.
But it could stupidly go up.
Yeah,
too,
I mean,
because
what-
we've seen a lot
yeah.
of web companies be crazily, in our
Yeah.
minds, overvalued.
Yeah.
I mean, Pinterest was recently valued at 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
And that's a website about wedding dresses and cupcakes.
That's
I mean,
essentially, an infant in
yeah,
website terms.
It's true.
This is if this goes out without a hitch, they sell off all their shares. This will be the largest IPO by a significant amount of a web company ever, bigger than Google.
Interesting.
Yeah, because when Google went public, they weren't already this giant company. They went public, at a normal stage. Zuck.
Well, but in, kudos to Facebook for being like, no, we'll wait, and then coming in really strong.
Yeah, so whoever bought in early is making tons of money. If you buy in now, I don't know that you're going to turn this huge profit because it's already at $38 a share.
Yeah.
You're not going to see $200 a share next year.
No.
It's by no means an Apple.
But crazy things could happen.
And over 5 to 10 years, if Facebook's still around, I could see probably an increase in valuation or a decrease in number of shares, which could help you out.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next story, we talked about Endstream bringing mobile payments to Canada, and that was supposed to be a joint thing between Rogers, TELUS, and Bell. Well, Rogers has jumped the gun.
Yeah.
So they came out with a Rogers CIBC exclusive partnership for NFC payments.
And it's available on a whopping 2 phones.
2 phones, and really only 1 phone.
It's true.
Because it's the BlackBerry Bold 9900, or if you're on the CDMA network, it's the BlackBerry Bold 9930.
So they put it in a RIM phone, which means no one really cares.
Well, the thing here is BlackBerry provides the security to do it, as well as they've had NFC forever.
That's true.
And a lot of other phones are, popular for 10 minutes, but the Bold has existed forever and is still, there are numbers of it. So, if they went out and did it on a high-end Android phone, well, the penetration's not there.
It's
So
true.
I can kind of get why they
Because
did
people
it.
would own it for like 3 months and then replace it with
Yeah,
something else.
Exactly. So I would kind of hope that we see this in maybe if Apple releases the iPhone 5 with NFC. But in principle, it should be fairly easy because how they're doing it is you get a special secure SIM card.
Yep.
So it's a Rogers SIM only, and it has your credit card information on it. So it's like a Rogers CIBC SIM.
Okay.
So it's a different SIM than everybody else has, and that allows you to use the NFC securely.
Interesting.
As opposed to having it as a software thing because it removes software from the picture.
Interesting.
And from what I understand, this will work on existing NFC terminals, so things where you can use PayWave.
Okay, so PayPass and stuff?
Well, PayPass, MasterCard, CIBC is associated with Visa.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, if you can see a Visa symbol on one of those wavy things, your NFC should work.
Interesting.
But
it's kind of crazy to think that this won't really take off really until the iPhone does it because Android's just too scattered and people are kind of moving away from RIM. So it's like if the iPhone 5 actually has NFC, that'll be the first time that people are like, oh, I guess we should care about this technology now.
Well, and the other thing is, it's only on one bank right now.
Yeah,
And none of us at the studio bank with CIBC.
it's true.
Not that that's a super good reflection. I mean, it is a very large bank. Well, Sean says he counted as, but he's lying. PC Financial is technically CIBC, but if you have a PC credit card, you cannot use this service.
It's true.
But we got to see bigger banks like TD, Scotiabank, maybe RBC pick it up, and BMO, and then have it available on phones people actually own. But it is coming finally because we're one of the last people that get it. I mean, the Japanese have it, a lot of other
What don't
Asian
the
countries have it,
Japanese
some
have?
European countries have it, and the Americans have it.
Yeah.
So finally, we're playing catch up like we tend to do
We always do that with our cell services.
with everything except for LTE.
Yes.
We actually launched LTE
And
before a lot of
Snow.
people, except well, yeah,
We don't play catch up with Snow.
no, unless you're comparing to Moscow.
I guess.
Yeah.
Moving on to some Google Chrome news. They've recently announced that they're going to allow you to sync all your tabs across your browser.
Yeah, so this was a beta feature available before where you could try it out if you wanted to. I never did because a lot of their beta features that involve syncing have turned me off in the past.
Or they just spontaneously explode.
Well, exactly. And then your bookmarks are just gone. Happened a few times. But basically, the new version of Chrome, which should have auto-updated if you use Chrome because they like to do that, will now sync. Because if you're using Google Sync, so if you sign in with your Google on multiple computers with Chrome, it will automatically sync your bookmarks for you and things like that already. But now it'll start syncing open tabs. So if I sit at my desktop and I have Facebook open, and then I go to my laptop and open Chrome, it'll open Facebook for me. Which for me would be super useful if I used Chrome across multiple computers, which I don't.
True.
Because I use Safari on my Mac. However, if you're a big Chrome user and you use it on, even if it was your work and home computer, that could be useful as opposed to emailing links or bookmarking and deleting the bookmark.
You just want to be careful. The last thing you do before you leave home is not watch porn and then you go to work.
Well, that would be embarrassing.
That's a quick way to get fired.
Although if you've got a good company, it probably won't load.
It'll still draw some flags.
Well, yes, you will get an email from IT going, "What's up with that?" And you can just,
It was
this
just my
is-
Google Chrome
It was
tabs.
my son. Yeah,
He was using the computer last.
Yeah. So if that's your thing, if Chrome's your thing, that's coming as well. Google has said that hopefully by the end of this year we should see a variant of Chrome on iOS and tailored for iPhone and iPad. So they're not going to release the exact same thing, just scaled, which I think is probably good because And hopefully it's fully baked because there's Chrome on Android, and it's awful. It's just awful. I tried it because I was like, oh, Chrome, that's got to be better than. No, it's terrible. So hopefully this isn't terrible, and that way, you know, I could sync Chrome across everything. That would be cool, I think, to have an open tab on my iPad, and then open my
Well,
computer.
that's when it would start to make sense because
Yes.
you're like, I want to look at this web page, but it doesn't really function properly on my mobile device.
Yes.
You don't want to be like, email this link, or you know, like I use an app that'll send it to my desktop, but it's just like, no, I just click and boom, it's there.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
So hopefully down, and then that way Chrome's got you because they're the only ones with features like that, and then you have to use Chrome everywhere you go.
Yeah, but then Apple will follow up a couple months later and make Safari do it.
I doubt it.
It's true.
Safari's not a very featureful browser by any means,
true.
unfortunately. But it does work fairly well for people on Macs. Don't use it on Windows. If you do, you're dead to me.
Our last bit of news this week, we are talking about IKEA's Upliva.
Yeah, so we talked about when it was announced because we're big into home theater type tech and we each have our
And
own
IKEA.
systems. Yeah, well, we go to IKEA for fun, so think about that as you will. But they announced this TV multimedia unit, and we had no pricing, we had no availability, we didn't really know who was making it, so we just kind of said, hey, cool idea, it could be garbage. So there's some more information from IKEA. It's launching by the end of the month in Europe. Next year in America, so probably next fall for us.
Yeah. So the important thing to note is that they're starting it off right by having a smart TV, which is the popular thing for TVs to do now.
Yeah.
Connect to YouTube and Vimeo and Dailymotion and all that
Yeah.
stuff. People like to watch all this content, but hate the effort you usually have to take
To
to
plug
get
a
it.
PC in or something.
Yeah, to get it up on your television.
And to be honest, most televisions, whether they be expensive or cheap or cheap these days, already have that.
Yeah, there's a lot of smart TVs out there now, and you can also get a lot of devices like an Apple TV or a Boxy Box or things
Yeah.
like that that'll give you some of that functionality. So it was definitely a smart decision for IKEA to say, hey, we're going to put that stuff in there because that is a feature that people are asking
Yes. Now we've got because they said multiple sizes, we weren't really sure. 24 to 46 inches. Now they didn't give variations in between, but I'm assuming you're going to see 24, 32, maybe a 40, 42, and a 46.
for. I'm going to be honest, I'm a little disappointed they didn't go to 50 inches.
Yeah, 50 is kind of that de facto. Most people buy 50s for a home theater.
Yeah, that's
setup.
sort of your big TV.
Yeah,
And everything under that's like a TV.
Yeah.
And then you're like 50 to 60 inches is your big TV.
Yeah, and anything above that, you're insane.
It's true.
So that's
Or insanely rich.
yeah, I agree, but I do have a 46 because at the time Samsung didn't make 50s.
It's true.
So it's not a bad size. It's not a 50, but more or less is a 50 for unless your room's really that big. But it's starting for the 24-inch at $960 for the whole unit. Now we kind of were discussing before the taping of the segment, is that really a good deal? It's gonna have to depend really on how good the electronics are.
Yeah, I mean, we made some basic math calculations based on buying all the pieces of this as separate pieces, and we figure on sort of a conservative estimate that it comes up about $200 short on
Yeah.
the starting end. You could spend about $200 less to get it all as separate pieces. Now, obviously, there is a valid idea of paying for the fact that it's all together.
Yeah,
And that it's one
absolutely.
unit and that everything all works really nicely. There's definitely a genuine reason to want to spend the money on something that just is. I mean, that's how Apple makes all their money. So I can understand that. But what we're kind of hoping is that 960 is a starting point. It doesn't really necessarily make sense to buy a 24 or 26 inch television. But if you moved up to a 32 or a 40 or a 46, that the pricing wouldn't jump drastically. If you could get a 46 for $1,200, well, then that starts to make sense because a decent quality 46-inch television will run you about $600 to $800 depending on the model.
And if you look at it, the only thing changing in that box is the television size.
Absolutely.
The Blu-ray player is not going to be different because you have a larger television or anything like that.
Yeah, and this isn't like buying a regular television where you're going to have Panasonic and Sony and all these different brands to choose from. This one manufacturer is just going to make those different sizes. So the pricing steps shouldn't be all that complicated because literally all they're doing is putting in a larger panel.
Yeah. So it should be interesting. We'll definitely check it out when they get it at the Giant IKEA here in Ottawa. If you're interested, if you're a brand kind of guy, these are being made by someone we've never heard of. It's a Chinese company called the TCL Multimedia. They're making the whole shebang. The speakers, the deep Blu-ray player, the smart TV, everything.
Now, just because we've never heard of them doesn't mean that it's not going to be a quality product.
Also doesn't mean they don't already make TVs for other companies.
It's true.
You could very well have a TCL if you own like a RCA or a Philips or something. We don't know.
Yeah, and it's even possible that some of the bigger brands have parts that this company could have made
Absolutely,
as
yeah.
part of their television as well. I mean, that's the thing, is that outside of a company like Samsung that manufactures every bit of their TV, most television companies take some parts from somebody else somewhere down the road.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, that's a pretty common fact. So I mean, it really is going to be one of those situations where once the TV is out and we can see whether it's good, we'll know whether it's good.
Yeah. So there you go. The Ooplava,
Ooplava.
the IKEA television.
Yeah.
Hopefully fall next year if you really need to get your hands on one.
And that brings us to the end of Tech Insight for this week.
It's kind of alive.
Nah, it's still dead.
Oh.
Hey everyone, welcome to Mad Science this week. We're gonna start with something that gives us the warm and fuzzies.
Yeah. So for the longest time, we've been talking about brain and body interfaces.
Brain-powered
Things.
Yes.
Well, not necessarily powered, but
No.
motive. So
Hands-free.
Hands-free, yeah.
Hands-free,
That works
there we
actually
go.
really well. So Brown University has been
Mm-hmm.
doing a big study where they've been using patients who have either had strokes or just basically paralyzed,
Mm-hmm.
and they have lost all mobility.
Yep.
So they've been trying to help these people for a long time. This sort of project's actually been going on since the early 90s.
Yeah, it's been going on for a pretty long time. We might even have talked about this before.
To a point.
To a point, or I do remember seeing one of these articles like on TV or something.
This is a big thing. Like,
Yep.
this research has been going on for a long time. There's multiple groups and multiple consortiums. In this case, it is the BrainGate Consortium. Basically, what they've done is they found these patients. They've actually taken the sensor electrodes, which is about 100 electrodes, put it into the motor cortex of their brain, and hooked them up to a computer. And if you check out our video in the show notes, you'll actually see that they have this this woman who has lost her mobility due to stroke serve herself some coffee.
Yeah.
And it's a huge thing because she has now been able to, from confinement in a wheelchair, move a robotic arm externally just by using her own brain's movement pattern. So the computer is able to interpret the signals, and then it also, the arm is like the best part.
The arm is a giant arm, kind of like the type you would see in like automotive.
Yeah, it came from
Yeah.
basically I can't remember the German company that made it. I believe it's DTL. They have been making robotic arms for a long time. Matter of fact, they were actually working with Willow Garage, making more autonomous household bots. So they have a specific kind of design they like. That gives it maximum mobility, at the same time cutting down on weight and
Yeah.
material. So the whole point, though, the arm is actually semi-intelligent. It's able to basically know when it has grasped something. So when the patient says, grab, the hand will close around it. But you can even see it in the video. It kind of gingerly touches it and then tries
Yeah.
to make sure it's going to get the proper grasp.
It also has some sensors in it so that when it does bump into something, it'll just stop.
Yep.
So it's kind of like a kill switch. Goes, I believe it's like emergency stop.
It's a safety.
Yeah, it's like they call it like emergency safety or something like
Yeah.
that. Which basically, if it bumps into you, it'll stop so that, you don't get hurt or you don't get whacked by this giant robotic arm.
Yeah. And I also remember what it is the DLR arm. So, my correction there. Basically, it's amazing. This robotic arm has got a certain amount of intelligence, which gives it a form of proprioception. That is to say that it can actually know its whereabouts, and when it bumps into something, is able to go, oh,
Ah!
stop. So it's really, really cool. They're actually
Yep.
giving mobility back to people. It started off just by having to move a cursor on a computer.
Yep.
And now we're actually moving into physical movement in the real world, which is huge. And this is the biggest step anyone's ever taken in
Pretty
any kind of
awesome.
consortium.
Now it gets to move this is something slightly more portable than a room full of computers and a giant arm.
That's on its way.
It's, small steps.
But speaking of helping patients, once again, we go into another interesting story, which is basically about ocular implants. So we've talked about these before.
Many, many times.
Yeah, everyone's always wanted to have that little, Mission Impossible lens, contact lens they pop in their eye,
Terminator vision.
or the Terminator vision, and they get to see everything. So what Google's trying to do with their
Google
weird-looking
Glass thing.
glasses.
Yeah.
The problem is when you take a hard contact lens, which was a problem way back when contact lenses were made,
Yep.
you go blind if you leave them in, because your eye doesn't have blood vessels, or rather your cornea doesn't have blood vessels. So when you block off the actual airflow to your eye,
Yeah, that's bad.
yeah, you start starving your eye of precious oxygen. So what does the body do? It starts putting blood vessels in, but it doesn't stop until it's it is reversible
Yep.
in the early stages.
Definitely.
But what it does is starts putting those blood vessels into your cornea, blinding you.
If
So-
you wear contacts the wrong way or for too long, you'll start noticing a little bit of a creep going on in your eye, and that's that's a sign to lay off the contacts for a while.
It definitely is.
Yep.
Matter of fact, it's quite an interesting response. The body trying to protect its eye, but also depriving you of vision. They come around with a new idea.
Awesome.
So basically, they've always said, well, okay, so we can't really give contact lenses to the sighted and have them see because eventually it's just going to make them go blind. Let's go to the actual blind factor. What can we do to stop that in the first place?
Interesting.
And maybe even enhance it down the road for those sighted. They came up with, of course, ocular implants that go right into the optic nerve. Now, we've had these, of course, for a while. They've been testing in rabbits and rats and all of that. Problem was that it requires a hell of a power source on the outside of the body
Yeah.
to get this stuff to work. Now they figured out how to shrink it down and make it technically, photovoltaic. And that is using light as its energy source. So the basically what they've done is they made a type of CCD array and type of pixel, which is actually acting as a photovoltaic cell only in the infrared spectrum. So you put on a pair of glasses. This is for the blind, by the way. So you have the implant. It's in your actual optical nerve.
Yep.
So what you would do is you kind of do what Jordy does, and that is put on something on the outside. It's the easiest way you can really think of it. This is kind of the reality of Jordy's visor.
It's true. He's got the two implants and then he's got the visor that clicks onto the two little
Implants.
things that come out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he hits the electrodes, and the visor sends the visual information into his optic nerve.
He sees better than the human eye.
Exactly. In this case, they're doing the same thing, but powering it with the actual information that the glasses are picking up and the computer's processing.
Interesting.
So they send in the infrared light, and what that does is actually powers up the actual implant to the point that they can actually see, rather well.
Yeah.
So using low intensity infrared, so you wouldn't
Well,
see like
rather
predator
well
vision.
to a blind person.
Exactly.
The
The only thing is though, it's hard to actually gauge it. They say how to actually come up with the level of vision.
Yeah.
This is coming from a company called Nature Photonics, I believe, or at least out of the article from Nature Photonics. The only thing is though, they can't tell. They can say that geometry comes out very, very well, so you can actually see
well,
things.
you can ask a person, what shape am I holding? Oh, you're holding a circle, you're holding a square.
Exactly, or
But
you're holding a
then-
sphere, or you're holding
Yeah.
something. But the colors, apparently, what's happening is the colors are starting to bleed in randomly.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's because of multiple arrays and multiple neurons getting
Okay.
triggered at the same time. So it's kind of a little bit of crosstalk. So there's still work that needs to be done, but this is a hell of a step. We're actually getting closer to Jordy's visor.
And now someone who's going to do this is going to be a huge Trekkie, and then they're going to make Jordy's visor.
Probably, and I'm sure it will sell millions.
And they'll make millions.
It will be actually
Or at
really
least
cool.
thousands.
Yeah,
Because, that's kind of a small market.
it is, but if they make it as an enhancement product, it will be different.
This is true.
So, I mean, you'll have to go under the surgery.
There are lots of Star Trek fans who want to be as cool as Jordy.
That is true. And I just want to ditch most of my biology, but me and Scott were talking about earlier. It's rather hard to do that because biology is pretty good, considering materials-wise.
No, really.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're just going to move on to the honorable mentions.
Yep.
I wanted to start off with, we've talked about Big Dog from Boston Dynamics.
Terrifying
Yeah.
robot thing with
The
reverse
robot
joints.
pack mule,
Yeah.
which is in service, like we mentioned before. Italy has one called HyQ, HYQ. So that's kind of their
Still
competition.
frightening? Not as frightening?
Not as frightening because it's not as fast and not as fluid. I find it to be
Awesome.
kind of, it's a little janky. So it's not as fluid, it's not as uncanny. So you kind of look at it and you go, all right, you're still a robot.
Still kind of scary, but not terrifying.
Yeah, we're not talking like Big Dog with a gun, which is good
Yeah,
because that's a
that's-
horrifying thought.
That's totally a thing.
It will be.
Yes.
Another one is another group of Chinese researchers, not the same ones who did this before. We talked about it months ago.
Yep.
Chinese researchers sent, a particle, teleported it technically through quantum entanglement, 16 kilometers away. Another one beat them by quite a lot. They
Quite a
put them
lot.
to about 97 kilometers. They claim 100, but really the measured was 97.
Yep.
That's still pretty huge. That's
Yeah.
a good distance away for a single particle doing quantum entanglement. So we're going to try and get more information on that one, but really all the articles are kind of the same as the other ones.
Yeah,
The-
they're all
the-
pictures of Star Trek and
Yeah, the
Yeah.
process is about the same. Unfortunately, there's not much to change. They did have a couple things, but the tweaks aren't that big, unfortunately. Now, this is something,
yes.
and we finally have a date. SpaceX.
Yay!
They're going to launch.
Asterix.
Yeah, sort of. When was that date?
I believe it was the 19th of May.
There you have it.
So by the time this posts, I
Wow.
will know if it's launched or not.
Yeah, and we were hearing that this is actually basically a deadline put down by NASA.
So hopefully the weather is good.
Yeah.
I know the weather is going to be good up here, but that means nothing for Florida.
Well, all they're doing, though, is blowing money away, so they got to get this thing up
Well,
there.
yes, but launches are kind of, kind of iffy. Oh no, a tiny little fluffy cloud.
Oh, crap.
Cancel.
Oh, no, the sun is shining too bright.
Yes.
Damn.
Oh no,
Oh,
there aren't
well.
enough clouds in the sky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all various reasons,
You know,
and probably
things-
for very good reasons.
Yes. So
Uh,
hopefully they got the software bugs worked out.
Exactly.
And it actually launches. It's really exciting.
Yeah, fingers crossed that this does not go wrong because this is actually a really, really big thing and hopefully it
Yeah.
works out.
Really big deal.
So, that kind of wraps it up for Mad Science this week.
Yep.
Have a good one and hopefully we get more. Well, that wraps it up for this week for the entire show. So, we talked about a lot of neat
There's
things.
a lot of neat things.
New tech coming out, Facebook going into its full IPO and going public. Obliva from IKEA.
New TV shows. Adventure
Yeah.
Time.
Huge.
Cool stuff.
So basically, if you want to reach us and tell us more about the TV shows or the Obliva, if you actually get the chance to get it, you can contact us on Twitter at almost_Friday.
Or if you're kind of old fashioned and want to contact us by email, it's contact@almostfridayshow.com. Or we're
One
also
more.
on Facebook. Just go to the top searchy thing, type Almost Friday Show. We are the first one there, and then you can get us directly in your Facebook feed timeline thing. So
Befriend us or
Yes.
follow us.
Be our friends, follow us, like
Facebook
us, all
us.
that sort of thing.
Yeah, give us thumbs up. We like those.
You won't have to do anything to know when our show is on. Just check Facebook like usual, and then it's like, hey, it's a new episode. Oh, click, and they can watch and comment and like us. This just came full circle.
And until next time, check your ocular implants because eventually we'll be able to Facebook right into them.